individuals, to schools, to different places. So this is a very generic session. It's actually based on the journey of how the journey of your being a teacher to a leader to yourself, actually. It's looking at the big picture, obviously. So looking at the journey and looking at the qualities, the phases, and of course, the big takeaways, you don't have to be right all the time. Just like me, I don't have to be right all the time. And that's okay. That's absolutely fine. So if you do, before I start, if you do have any questions, please drop them into the chat box. And I would just request Miss Ashika to pick that question up if it's okay. If not, I'm happy also to answer them. Or do feel free to interrupt as well. So just getting started. Thank you, Miss Ashika. So why this session? This session is just to support you and looking into roles that goes beyond the classroom. Beyond how where you need to continue growing and where you need to constantly develop the qualities that's needed. So I'm just moving my camera a little bit so that we can be fixed. So sorry. Yeah, perfect. Great. So qualities, what are the qualities that we need and what do we ensure? How do we make sure that that different qualities help us to grow and help us to understand? Now, when we talk about qualities, we always make sure that we have to make sure that there are three phases initial when we grow, when we start teaching, when we start understanding a school. And there are so many dynamics where you grow as a teacher because you are an expert, you are the guru of your subject area, you take control of the classroom, and you start looking into understanding the school gradually, and it takes time, and or you get to know people who are running the school as well. Okay, hand on hand, it's a partnership. You teach, you get into the classroom, you teach, you help students grow in what they want to learn. At the same time, you grow in different webinars and different professional development opportunities that actually helps you to grow altogether. So that's phase one. There are three phases actually when you become a teacher, when you are a teacher, when you're leading a classroom, then you connect, you become a connector. Now, what happens with the connector phase? You connect with the students' community. You articulate what you have to say, the more you improve on your self-communication skills. And clarity of accountability, clarity. This is the most difficult part because if you don't know what you want, then that's where the whole problem lies. And it's deeply rooted problem that is not so easy, but it can become easy when you take a stand and when you take a decision to go ahead with. Whether right or wrong, you can always come back and say, okay, that was wrong. I should have not done this part. So, and I mean, of course, I would like to invite Ms. Ashika in a minute's time. Being a part of the senior leadership team, you will always, I mean, we always used to look for individuals who can bring solution to the table. And we would like to also encourage you that look for solution or strategies where you can actually where you look for strategies and where you make sure that you bring solution. If it's not possible, okay, what else can you do? Ms. Ashika, any other suggestions on this note, please?
Just that you do not need a position to be a leader. Okay. You have to be passionate about what you do. And uh, I think people follow you when you provide value to them and you are always there to help them. So, if I talk about myself, when I was a teacher at the first IB school in Mumbai, though I was just a teacher, but because I was one of the founder teachers, uh, when teachers came in the second year or in the third year, uh, these were all new to the IB and to the MYB. So at that time, I took it to myself that because I had a lot of anxiety and I was very hit by the new program and I really needed help from my coordinator and other mentors, um, I gave forward and I helped those teachers who came in new. And therefore, then I think that I grew myself to be a leader, because that was when I helped those new teachers and to make them understand the new school. Of course, if you go to an IB school, not all IB schools are same, though the program is the same, but the context differs. So there is a change of place. So then how do we help those new teachers to acclimatize in the new surrounding as well as learn the new program? It can be very overwhelming when you first start off with any of the programs of the IB. So if you have a mentor or if you have a person who knows a little more than what you know, then it is helpful. So that is when I thought that I was becoming an emerging leader. Not that I had any position of a head of department or anything, but just helping them out. They look forward to having a chat with me and sitting with me and discussing about the program. Yeah, just to add that. Yeah, Vishal.
Thank you, Ms. Ashika. I really appreciate the input that we have given to this. Definitely. And, slowly, gradually, when you bring solutions to the table, you become, and slowly you will notice yourself that there are some changes that's happening within you. Um, Even with the most positive or the most adverse circumstances, you'll see changes are happening. It can be a roller coaster ride, but at the same time, you are bringing strategic solutions to the school so that the school stands on a good ground, and just not based on your own interest, but also the community's interest. At the same time, that's where you can start to become a connector. And that's where and the moment you bring more clarity, more solution to the whole process, then you become an emerging leader. You develop the role, your interest, you enroll in certain courses that you are curious about. So you can, for example, you can make a list of things, a list of topics that you're really interested in, and look at where the school needs to focus on, and how you are bringing that change in your classroom. So that is something, it's really important. So for example, if the school needs guidance more on, how students learn, so look for courses that are offering a student teaching and learning as well at that process. Then gradually, when the moment you start becoming more involved and more understanding and more proactive, then there is a chance of where you make more clarity on your pathway of what you want to become and where you want to stand on. So it can be right from head of department or coordinator or a part of a SLT team member. As I agree that sometimes I agree with Ms. Ashika that you don't need to have a title to become a leader, but these proactive tweaks and changes can actually change the whole perception of it. So that's really important of it. So you see on this picture on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see there are so many words that are involved that centralizes leadership, right from teamwork, decision, influence, support, you contribute, and then you understand the clarity in communication and planning, you plan ahead of time, be it your professional or personal life. Planning is really important. Something that I've observed lately, that we do plan something, but something else turns up. And so that is fine. How well you adapt, always have a plan B. So you make two plans. One is that goes with the flow, that is fine, which is going to happen. And the other part is making sure, what if things don't work? What's the fallback plan? What are you planning to do? So that's one aspect. However, these are the three phases. Now, moving on, when we talk about three phases, we talk about ourself. What involves in ourself and how these three phases triggers before that. So maybe I'll just adjust the slide and put it just on the top, because it starts with yourself and then it comes to the phases. Just quickly on that. So when you pace yourself, when you understand a school, the nature of the school, and you can easily understand within the first 6 months, give it 6 months time, then you can easily understand whether you're fitting into the school or you're struggling. If you're struggling, what's the plan? and how you are. So, you need to self-pace yourself. And you will understand within a few weeks, or maybe it may take one academic year. Now, how do you self-pace? You have to look after yourself. You have to go through the fitness, or go out for a walk, fresh walk, evening walk if you have time, or on Saturday, Sunday if you join any fitness, kind of thing. Keep yourself fit. I know it's easy to say, it's difficult to do, but keep yourself a fitness that actually, for example, I go out for a walk right after dinner. It's okay to have a fresh air, some time to think, and some time to refresh as well, or early morning walks. Dressing, absolutely. Dressing sense is so important, because you take care of yourself, and there is a public image that displays, that you are able to take care of yourself. You appear professional, definitely, but you appear absolutely organized, as well. So getting into organizing self is managing time, which is something that a lot of leaders around the world do find it challenging. Most of them accomplish, some of them are still struggling, and some of them take it as a learning lesson for their next opportunity. Um, for example, when I started my journey as a head of department, head of languages, I always realized the biggest aspect it was the time management, and that had to be stopped, because I cannot get consumed by time, because the more I get consumed by time, the more delays of decision takes place. So that's very important. Manage your time. You have to be here for a meeting. You have to meet somebody at this particular time. Don't be 5 or 10 minutes late. Be before time if you can. Just practice. It's a struggle. It's not going to be easy, but once the practice is there, you are there on time. So that's fine. But sometimes some countries it depends. Like for example, in Thailand, I was waiting for a friend of mine who came 10 minutes late, and I said, "Why? Wow, why are you late? I mean, just be on time." So okay, and the answer I got, "Look, I'm here. That's the most important thing." Like so it depends from country to country, but you just practice your own punctuality. Just moving on. Objectively start thinking, what solution do you have to offer? Because if you think emotionally, then emotional thought process just doesn't balance much. You might land up taking, a different decision altogether. So looking at that, and that's why if you find out the book from Simon Sinek, look always for the why, and he adds up to the latest edition. Look for the how. Um, clear communication, and of course, network and socialize. Sometimes networking such an important part, and there have been so many number of workshops offered by all of our colleagues, including Ms. Ashika as well, on the power, especially what Ms. Ashika used to mention, that the power of networking, socializing. And well done, Ms. Ashika. Congratulations on achieving almost 10,000 followers very
It's
soon.
10,005 now.
Fantastic. Well done. Amazing. So, this is a very, very good example of how you keep contributing. It's like, the first thing in the morning I look at, it's Miss Ashika's post, is that, it's like it has to be that highlight of the day. What is the key learning thing? So keep networking, because different ideas, different people, and that relates to the support that you create. An unbelievable amount of support that both from my end that I receive equally, as well as people who seek support. They call up, they say, okay, this is where I need to improve on, kind of thing. So do keep in touch. That's really, really important to have that support. Look out for that. Now, before I move on, I would like to invite some questions, please, if you do have anything on your side. Any questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat.
Yeah.
I do have one. I'll just type.
Yeah, Debrati.
Go ahead, Debrati. So when you look into these,
You're muted, Debrati.
I think she has, yes. How do we navigate work politics? That's a good one. Ms. Ashika, yeah, right.
I also wanted to ask the same thing. Who is giving the opportunity?
Stay away from politics.
Yeah.
In and out, ma'am.
Yeah.
इसलिए मैंने बोला नहीं, चुप बैठी थी.
as well as the reticence to change, especially when new ideas come from new employees. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you see that sometimes it's how do I say? It's received. It can be a boon and it can be a curse. With new ideas and new approach. Um, However, what really will matter is you have to initiate that new ideas in your own classroom and see how it works, and then you transform that into a good practice and document that as a good practice. And then when the opportunity comes in to talk with your coordinator, you can cite this kind of good practices, new ideas into a school-wide initiative, but navigate through, keep that dialogue open and transparent, that what you think aloud and say it. Sometimes honest conversation, really blunt conversation can open up few things, few part of it. But how to navigate work politics? The golden rule, stay away from it, and you don't have to put your opinion into it, which I always suggest that sometimes it's good to keep your opinions on it. What does your experience say? What did you experience something in that? You can then put up, okay, as per my experience, I faced this similar issue, but we were always open to solve something. So yeah, can't say we do not have a perfect answer for that, but yes.
Okay, when I started off as a teacher in an international school or IB school, over there, when I was trying to grow as a professional, first thing, keep your mouth shut and your ears open. Okay, you don't have to give your suggestion or advice all the time. Okay, keep your suggestions and advice to yourselves. Yeah, and when you are very new to the workplace, where already there is a culture and where already people do according to what is to be done, at that time, it's a good idea to keep your mouth shut about ideas. Okay, first you observe, see how things are, because you don't want to give suggestions where people will just tell you that, oh, because I know it. Okay, there were certain people who were trying to give suggestions when they came in as new, and the other people who were already there, they talked among themselves and they said that, oh, he is just working like a new broom. जब झाड़ू नया होता है तो वो साफ सफाई बहुत करता है. You understand? So a new broom sweeps away everything. So this kind of dialogues were, spoken at that time. So you have to be very careful when you are getting into a school where already the culture is set. Okay, you'll have to observe, see how things go, and then you open your mouth. Always keep your mouth shut and your ears open. Yeah, and then maybe you understand how the situation is. You will also get to know how the people work, um, who are the people who matter. Okay, who will listen to you and who will do the right thing. And there are certain people. Okay, they will always ask suggestions. Okay, they'll always ask you when you are a leader. They will always ask, "Oh, what do you think we should do? Oh, what?" But then they will ask for suggestions. We give suggestions, and they will do and everything opposite of what you have said. So such people I have read somewhere, they are called as ask holes. So be away, okay? Just run away from these ask holes, because they will ask things, but they will do exactly the opposite. Yeah. So I hope I have answered some part of that question over there, Debarati.
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, Vishal.
Yeah, absolutely. You made our evening, Miss Ashika. Thank you so much. It's really important. Absolutely. So if something is not working, you are not able to adapt. Stay clear about it, and then that's it. But keep your transparency to your management about what you think and what can work. And when it comes to classroom practices, new ideas, or school improvement suggestion, when you are into accreditation committees and what it is, and first try out that practice in your classroom, and then how it works, implement that, and see how it works. And when I speak about this whole, when we speak about this whole process, obviously develop your own framework. Every person, every school, every institution has got their guiding statements, who they are. And when you select your next school, this is something that I always speak in the recruitment process and the recruitment time, that always look out for, what's the school's philosophy? What do they want to achieve? And where do they want to stand? And how things can work actually, for them as well as for you. So you, as much as the school develops their vision and mission, it's very important for you to develop your own framework. Where are you struggling? Where are you succeeding? What is your goal? Find a mentor, connect and reflect. Sometimes your own personality reflects on your professional life as well. So as I spoke in one of the previous sessions on recruitment and etc., that please do make sure that you keep a work-life balance very well. Make sure that your relationships, your family is absolutely intact and solid so that you can focus on professional development and growth. And also develop, as Ms. Ashika mentioned, that observe, because you are getting into a school, means you don't know what kind of, culture and context. If it was not clear in the interview process, where do you need to look? And if you realize within the next few weeks that, okay, here's a culture that I got into which is not suiting me. However, I can still manage, I can still contribute, I can still have that one-on-one understanding of the school's approach. Great, I have something in hand, I can carry on. If not, good time to move on and keep on improving on your teaching practices. Okay, and definitely keep constructing, work very hard on networking, work very hard on meeting people and understand and get things to solve as we speak. So that's very important as we go. Sometimes the golden line and the last part of today, which is you don't have to be right all the time. Um, Even if you are in your 50s or in your 40s or in your 60s, when you say, no, I have the age, let me take advantage of my age and impose few things on some few others, sometimes it can actually burn you out completely. So do make sure you consult and you solve. Don't look for a solution in your favor all the time, but keep the school in the center when you take those, when you offer those solutions. Your ideals and your values, yes, they are really good for you. You are working who you are. What are your ideals? Or what are your values? Who you are as a person? Yes, honesty, truthfulness, sincerity, dedication. It's really, really important. But you need to understand that you are working with a set of people who are very, very different than you. And they are working with you because you are different than them. However, you got selected because they have put that trust and belief in you. And of course, if something goes correct, obviously it's a smooth ride. But if something doesn't go right and you are not too sure about it, keep always that conversation open and one-on-one to have it that, look, things are not working, something is eating me up, and I need to really figure this out very quickly. Can I get some help? So who are your go-to help? Your head of department, your coordinators, or your principals. Sometimes you don't get along well with these three hierarchical organizational individuals, but do remember, somewhere down the line, everyone, gets to understand you, who you are as a person, and that reflects on the professional referees and references that get cross-checked all the time by the association of heads, IB heads, or in India, for example. I think, Ms. Ashika, you are a part of that IB heads network as well. And yeah, and
Yes.
this has happened quite a lot of time. I'm just keeping this conversation very limited, but say that please do make sure you keep your channel and network very clear, open, and honest, even if there is something is not working for you. Ms. Ashika, anything on this aspect that you would like to add?
No, I think you have said it clearly that you have to have good relationship with your line managers as well as with your colleagues. But that doesn't mean that you always say yes to what they say yes. But have that open communication. And instead of gossiping amongst your colleagues, it's a good idea to talk to the person and clear out your, differences.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
absolutely. And so that's the first step. One of those steps, one of those baby steps to stay away from politics is like keeping the conversation open and say, look, this is what I feel, and this is what we can work on. And okay, how do we work forward with that? So that's why observation feedback are so important when you invite your administrator or your line manager to observe your class, or sometimes as a teacher, say, okay, I'm sure if this is working, could you please come and observe my class, spend few minutes, and give it your thought. How can I tweak this part of it? So that can be a possibility also, all of these things. So yeah. Any questions on?
I just wanted to add something to
Yeah,
this,
please.
Vishal.
Yeah, please.
When you are moving from teacher to a leadership position, okay, suddenly you were teacher, homeroom teacher, and then you became assistant coordinator, and then maybe the coordinator. Uh, you are not trained to be the coordinator. Of course, you go for that workshop to be the coordinator. That tells you the operational things, okay, how and what you need to do as a coordinator of that particular program. But there are certain things that you need to take decisions which your colleagues who are teachers, who are your colleagues, may not like when you are the coordinator. So remember to put your coordinator hat when you are thinking about certain things. Yeah. Sometimes when you are a new coordinator, you tend to slip into teacher mode. You start thinking as a teacher and not thinking as a leader. Okay. So at that time, it is very necessary that you think about the whole situation as a coordinator and not just as a teacher. So yeah, that would be my a piece of advice to new coordinators, because even when I started off as a new coordinator, I used to slip into teacher mode than taking decisions as a coordinator. Because as a coordinator, you are part of the school management team, you are the pedagogical leadership team, and there are certain things and certain decisions that you have to take as the coordinator, which your teachers may not like. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And this is where you have to, as from coordinator to, like, from teacher to coordinator, you have to look at what the management is trying to convey to the teachers, because not all decisions are perfect, because decisions are hard to make. But
And
it's a
also certain things, when something does goes very good, it's not like I am doing as a coordinator. Okay, it's the school that is doing something good. Okay, and when something goes bad, it's not like the school is doing bad. It is, you also have to take some ownership of whatever bad has happened, right? Because you are the leader, and that has happened under your leadership. So this is very important. So when you do something good, give credit to others also. I have seen this with my present leader at the Worthy School. She is always very, how do you say, she always praises people in front of them and would um, scold them separately, private. Okay. And when I say scold them, it's not like how you're scolding a student. It would be talking it through, why happened, what happened, and what should have been done. Okay. So these kind of discussions happen. It's not like you did it, this is wrong, you are to be blamed. It's not like that. Okay. If this has happened, okay, done with. But now how do we go ahead? How do we improve? What is the solution to this problem? So these all discussions happen. So this is how a leader should work.
absolutely, and keeping the best interest for the institution, and also keeping the things open, and sometimes to work around with your teachers is so important, even outside of that context of um, you know uh, education. Sometimes it's really important. And that's why the next question I'm picking up on the chat box, Ms. Ashika, is that, would you also like to highlight the changes in the school work culture pre-pandemic and post-pandemic era? The answer is yes, absolutely. And sometimes it's no, but it has to be, I would say 90% yes, because this whole pandemic stuff has affected so much in so many different ways that has pushed people around to, to the extremes, basically. And how can teachers leverage that to the network effectively inside school? That's a very good question. Sometimes professional development is being taken receptively, sometimes not. It's like, okay, why there is so many professional development things. So which ones are effective for us, for the school? It's best to consult with your head about different BD opportunities. It can be, of course, if they are free, of course, you are more than welcome to participate. But if it comes with a cost, just make sure to have that conversation. How much and how would you like to proceed ahead sometimes with the cost effectiveness? Okay, so that's really, really important of it, because the PD budget is 1% of the whole school budget sometimes. So, and that's why you need to really, really look into developing your budgeting skills. Have a look at your own personal life, how you're managing finances, and you can understand. But every school has a budget, and that's why my key takeaway points for the last part of this evening is, keep it simple. Have an attitude that is receptive to others. Be receptive, suggestive, understanding. When it's a no, learn how to say no. That's it. Okay, keep that parameter strong. Okay, when it says no, I'm not. When you feel that, okay, something is not working, or you are being taken for granted at times. If you feel, just say no, and then give a rationale why you feel so. And of course, active participation in co-curricular activities, looking at how well you can actually participate. So do participate in meetings, but just be selective. During meetings, there are so many ideas that are being discussed. Be selective of what you want to tell and whether it's productive to tell in the meeting, or do you want to separately talk to the coordinator and say, I was thinking about this. What do you suggest? Or maybe we can think about this at a later time. So yes, I do invite your administrators to observe as much as they can, so that they see where is that improvement going. I have a question on the chat box very quickly. What do you think is the best way to ask for a grasp project that will give opportunity to do the work that brings some impact? Right. To ask, maybe perhaps, every school do have their way of approaching, for opportunities. Some schools, they say internally, from the international context, I don't know about the context in India, but internationally, when they say, oh, who is interested for this opportunity to go ahead with, and who will be interested in making sure that, that will be there. Or sometimes management do have, who might have picked up individuals in they have individuals in their mind. What they do, they approach it directly and say, hey, I would like you to take this on. Would you please give it a thought? Because we think this is one of the best ways for you to take more responsibility for us. One may be the best at that particular task, but someone in management might pick up who they like more, not focus on who can bring quality. Well, I would say yes and no, because management look at individuals who, number one, bring solution to the table. Sometimes some management, I don't know, around the world, they feel that yes, this can be the person. Let's give him or her the chance. But when that happens, automatically, sometimes it allows teachers to take a decision. So say if somebody who is not great in CAS but gets selected for CAS to lead the CAS program. So what happens then? Management puts that decision, and the individual gets appointed, not selected, appointed for that position, and leaves the process on the teachers to decide whether that individual is capable or not. And then later on, the feedback is taken by the principal from the teachers. How's that particular individual performing? So do not worry if that person has been picked up and you are not, like, you question that how that person got picked up. There are certain decisions that went behind that. Ms. Ashika, anything else from your point of view?
It reminds me of my job where I had applied to be assistant MYP coordinator, and then another person was picked saying that okay, she is older than you, Though I had the more experience than her in the program, I said, okay, the first time it happened. The next time, when there was another chance of becoming a coordinator, again, another person was selected instead of me. So when this happens continuously, then you really have to think that do you really want to stay in the place where you are not appreciated? So, like I said, you are not a tree. You can move, right? So if you feel that you are not appreciated, and when you have asked, first main thing is that you need to ask. If you don't ask, the answer is always a no. And there is a certain way that you ask. Okay, you cannot demand. Okay, you have to request. So you speak to your uh, line manager, talk about it. And once, okay, they have decided, they have appointed and not have a selection or an opportunity to, for the teachers to apply for that position, then, and it happens again and again, then you should understand that maybe that is not the place for you and it's a good idea to move. And I think that was what do you say? A blessing in disguise for me because I am where I am because I was not a coordinator at that time. If I was a coordinator, I would have been happy and stayed there till now, right? Because I felt that, okay, I was not valued. Maybe I should move and I should take that decision or take that opportunity to uh, what do you say, professionally develop myself. So I put in my own money to do the MYP coordinator workshop. Uh, Again, the school said, okay, how many MYP schools are there? That time there were only 8 MYP schools in India. But then I was quite confident that I wanted to become a coordinator. And that's why I said, okay, let's see, right? First of all, let me at least make myself fit for that position, do the necessary training, and then I'll see whether I get or not. But at least I invested in myself to professionally grow as a coordinator. I did not wait for the school to give me the training. Yeah. So sometimes you need to take those decisions and invest in yourselves. I hope I have answered the question, Samta.
Yeah. Absolutely. And sometimes some of us who are into coordinatorship already, we manage a program and managing a program, it becomes really challenging because, you look into different aspect of the program at the same time. You look at when certain decisions are to be taken. Again, from that, you can't see from a coordinator's point of view alone. You have to think like a senior management team of the school when you are a program coordinator, because sometimes we advocate very strongly for the IB standards and practices, the moral values, but the moral values lie between thin line between management of the school and the philosophy of the school and in alignment with the international program standards. So just be careful on how things you navigate the whole system. Yeah. As we reach the last part of this evening, now I would like to open the doors for question, answer, or anything that you would like to comment on, please. Thank you.